Hi, friends. Susan Blackwell from the Spark File here to let you know that the doors are open for the Spark File Illume, a 9-month group creativity coaching mastermind that invites you to be the Chief Creative Officer and Chief Marketing Officer of your creativity. But what does that mean? That means in 9 months in Illume, you will clarify and advance your big creative goals and learn how to effectively share your work with the world. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an experienced creative or an accomplished professional who seeks a space where it is safe to attempt something you've never tried before, or complete a big creative project, or take your work to the next level and acquire the skills needed to share your creative work with the world, Illume might be right for you. We are calling in emotionally intelligent, high-functioning creatives who are ready to level up. You can find out more by going to thesparkfile.com/Illume, but do it now to find out if Illume is right for you and to save with early bird discounts. That's thesparkfile.com/Illume. Take a leap, take a risk. Go to thesparkfile.com/Illume and join us for Illume.
The SparkFile podcast may contain profanity and other adult content.
Please use your discretion.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
Holy crap.
Holy mother of pearl.
Exciting.
Hi there.
Hi, sweet Susie Q.
How you doing, Laura Cam?
I'm so good.
You look cute.
Thank you.
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing what I like to call my TPAP utility jumpsuit. Okay.
You're fully branded.
I am. I'm ready to work.
For
Let's
those
do
of
it.
you who aren't here with us and don't know, we're at the Performing Arts Project, aka TPAP, in, where are we? Greensboro, North Carolina? No, not really. Where is it? Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I don't even know what day it is, on the campus of Wake Forest University.
That may be, but Susan, I like that you commented on my jumpsuit, but I would be remiss not to mention your fancy pants.
Why,
Can we
thank
take a look
you.
at those pants?
Do you want me to stand and
I'll
walk?
describe them while you strut.
I'm taking off my cans
Susan,
while I shake my cans.
shake your can. Susan is wearing today a well-worn pair of jeans embellished with what I think are the marks of some true creativity.
I call them my creativity pants.
Yes, you do.
And I'll make you a pair for $500.
Low price of $500. Who's in?
We're at the Performing Arts Project, aka TPAP, and my brain has learned so much this week.
My brain has been sparking like, sorry, I was about to get scolded for my microphone use, wasn't
You're
I?
doing great.
Thank you. I have to
Cams,
remember
have
to
you
do
learned
this.
anything particularly sparkish this week at TPAP?
I've learned that there are so many incredibly talented, like ready to change the world human beings in the same space that I'm in right now. And it is thrilling beyond belief.
It's Crizazzle.
Crizazzles.
Oh, hey. Welcome to the Spark File.
Oh,
hey.
hi.
Your one-stop shop for creative inspiration. Oh, thank you. How dare you? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Camion.
I'm Susan Blackwell. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. You may be asking yourself, what exactly is a Spark File? Where do I get a Spark File? What do I file in a Spark File? These are good questions, and we do have answers.
Yes, we do. A Spark File is a place or places where you consistently collect all these inspirations and fascinations that pop through your brain. It's kind of like your jar full of creative fireflies, if you will.
But here's the deal. We are makers who make all kinds of things.
It's true. And if you're like us and you're making stuff all the time, or if you want to be making stuff all the time, you're probably well aware that the wellspring of inspiration can run a little dry sometimes.
So we're always on the lookout for fresh ideas, images, and inspiration that spark our creativity and pique our curiosity, things that inspire us to get up off of our asses and make things like this podcast.
Yes.
Ooh. I like just like a Jerry Springer, like, ooh.
Or a miniature city inside of a snow globe.
Or a life-size replica of a brontosaurus carved out of butter.
That's the idea right there. That's what I was looking for.
It took me a second, but it came to me.
So every episode, we're going to reach into our spark file and we're going to exchange some sparks. And from time to time, we're also going to talk to some people and some folks who spark us too.
And if you're not careful, you just might get your ass rocked. So without further ado, let's open up the spark file. Oh, no.
Oh, Susan. Susan, you know me well by now. You know me very well.
I do.
And you know that one of my personal favorite places to look for sparks is history. And I know I'm not alone in this room because I know some other people look there as well. That's right. I like to find sort of obscure events in history and, that people don't know much about and then make them,
Spark them up.
Fan it into how flames. They inspire me.
Yeah.
And then out pops a story.
Yeah.
And there are there's some very, very fertile soil in the stories of old Hollywood.
This is my favorite moment of all moments,
like
before you unbox a spark.
I know.
I
Susan
love it
gets
so much.
all tingly and
I do get excited. I get like an electric feeling in my butt.
Oh, honey.
I do.
So I like to look at old Hollywood from time to time, and I'm talking 20s, 30s, 40s.
Okay.
And I love it, I think, for a lot of reasons. One is like it appears from the outside so magical and in a way so innocent and full of possibilities.
Right.
I mean, like, you hear those stories about like people being discovered at the soda shop.
Yeah, Schwab's at the soda
ordering
fountain.
a chocolate malt and boom, I'm an agent. I'm starring in this film.
Yeah. But here's the thing, I'm fascinated by what it looks on the outside and what it feels like on the inside.
I know you
are.
Like
the tension between it looks like a beautiful, sparkly, perfect, fun, happy, uncomplicated thing on the outside.
That's
and
right.
on the inside, it's just a ball of snakes.
It's so true, and nothing could be more true of old Hollywood.
Meow.
I think it is that duplicity that really draws me in.
Yeah.
And I think now, having spent many years as a communications and PR person, I certainly appreciate the work of those PR people back in the day. Because they made up some magical stories and created some legends that still endure today, true or not true, mostly not true. But those stories stuck.
Yeah.
Now, there's a reason for that, of course, because everyone was in cahoots. I mean, the PR teams, the fixers, the studios, the journalists, all colluding to tell these stories. And at the very top of that pyramid was the Hollywood studios.
The heads of studios.
That's right. They were literally all powerful. Side spark for just 1 second. I mentioned fixers.
Yeah.
Those were the people that worked at the studio that basically fixed all the problems that people, human beings created by...
Like a Hollywood Michael Clayton. Like they
Yes,
got in
I'm
there.
actually saying, here's an idea. Please someone take it
Here's
and then hire me to be on your writing team when you make this show. But it's Ray Donovan, but set in old Hollywood. Those are the fixers.
Good spark.
Some inconvenient truths come out and they make them go away. So, but I'm on the staff. I'm on the writing staff. I will work for you.
Side spark. I've been on Ray Donovan. I've never watched it.
Fun fact.
Great. Back to you.
Great. Back to this. So there's a reason why the Hollywood studios were completely in control. Like, you have to understand that the city of Los Angeles built up around them. It's not like today, like Google might decide, I thought for a moment New York might be my headquarters. Michigan could be my headquarters. It's not like a huge company now deciding where they want to be. There was nothing in Los Angeles, and it was populated by artists and frankly, they were considered vagabonds and like a bunch of crazy people out there in the West, and no one paid much attention until they started creating things. How about some applause for creating things?
Just pandering.
Okay. I just wanted to hear it one more time. I missed you guys.
Camion is pandering. She's pandering.
True.
It's interesting. Just
talk to me.
I don't think of California pre-film industry frequently. Like
you don't, because there wasn't a lot.
There wasn't a lot going on
to think
out there.
about.
Okay.
I mean, there were people
like
there.
minor 49ers. I guess there was that sort
there
of
was
thing.
A gold
there was
rush,
like
all of that.
And
I didn't research for that, so let's not get
agriculture,
too deep.
right? Almonds and that's citrus and stuff like that.
That's true.
Okay.
But of course, they saw the weather. They could film year round. They could, be creative year round. So, literally, the city was built up. Once they started making movies, those things started making money and people started paying attention. But the entire city was structured around that. So there wasn't anything about the city that didn't sort of report up to the Hollywood studios. So I think that, there's a lot of stories about the studio. Like, of course, if you signed with a studio, you're excited. You got a weekly salary.
Oh, yeah.
What
did they call that when you were like, I'm under contract?
Under contract
with
studio.
MGM or whatever.
That's right.
Okay.
But if you were, they completely owned you. I mean, they would determine what parts of your authentic self would be hidden, maybe your sexuality, your family history, your religion. The studio would decide if that was no longer going to be part of who you are publicly.
That's a deal with the devil.
It is.
Interesting.
It is. There's actually, this one's a little well known, but I'll just give you, this is just a little bite-sized example of the kind of power they had over you. Young starlet named Loretta Young. She was 20 years old.
Yeah.
She did a movie with one of the most famous movie stars of the time, Clark Gable. And thanks to a little affair on the side, Loretta found herself pregnant with his child.
Okay.
One small little problem, or a big problem if you're the studio, Clark Gable was married.
To somebody that wasn't Loretta Young.
Not Loretta Young.
Got it.
And of course, they couldn't have this. It would ruin both of their careers. So as Loretta started showing, the studio arranged for her to go on vacation, to an extended vacation to Europe. They even had periodic media interviews scheduled along the way, so no one would be suspicious of the fact that she
was
hadn't
like,
been seen
I'm just standing behind this wall.
Well,
was it a lot of that? I'm just holding a giant basket of carrots.
That's right.
Was it a lot of that?
Yes, and in her 8th month, literally, she's showing. They show her lounging in a 5-star hotel bed with a breakfast tray right over her belly, pillows around her, and
there's a scene in Austin Powers like that, isn't there? Where it's like we're fully nude, but we're holding 2 cantaloupes, that sort of thing.
So they do that interview. So they feel comfortable. Everyone thinks she's in Europe. They hustle her back to California. She has the baby, and the studio demands that she give her baby to an orphanage. That child goes to an orphanage. They wait a year and a half, and then the studio deems, okay, here's what we're going to do, Loretta. You can go and you can adopt your own child. Bring her back home and we'll make a big PR story out of that. Look at Loretta adopting a child. Isn't it beautiful?
That's amazing. And it's also a plot line in Downton Abbey. It is. It's a plot line in Downton Abbey.
Oh, I know it is. I know.
That is batshit.
It is batshit. And I mean, it's truly heartbreaking. I know we joke, but it is truly heartbreaking. And that secret was just one of the worst kept secrets ever because they tried.
We're fucking talking about it now.
Exactly. Because we're talking about it. And even at the time, everyone knew, everyone
that
knew
giant
the deal.
basket of carrots didn't work.
No, seriously, that little girl was forced, Clark Gable was famous for kind of having these ears that stick out.
Yes.
So as she grew up, she was forced to have surgery to pin her ears back because she was starting to look too much like Clark Gable. So they went to extreme lengths, and she actually didn't even know that Clark Gable was her father until she was 23. She was engaged to a guy, and he just sort of flippantly says,
"You bear a striking resemblance to..."
No. That might have been more interesting, but no, he literally says, "Oh, everybody knows you're the secret biological child of Clark Gable."
Are you fucking kidding me?
No. And she's like,
now I want that Jerry Springer sound.
That? Ooh. That's right.
Wow.
That's right. That's just a little taste of the power of the studios. But Susan.
Oh my God, lives changed and wrecked.
That's not my spark.
Of course it's
I
not.
like to do that.
long-
Susan loves when I do that, but that's not my spark. But that is just a little teaser.
I love it.
My spark, because that secret was really kept quite badly. Like it's kind of a non-secret.
I cannot believe the fiance was like, babe, everybody knows.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be flippant about it. She
No,
went into a tailspin and her, then she went about trying to figure out who she was and how she,
There's her book. There you go.
She wrote one. Her name is Judith Lewis. So if you're interested in that story, but my story is actually a secret that I want to share with you because it's one of the darkest secrets and a secret that was so successfully suppressed. It took 66 years for it to actually come to light.
Is this what we would call a hashtag dark spark?
It's not it's not light and bright. It could be a dark
Hashtag
spark.
dark spark.
Why does that remind me of Harry Potter? It's like a Horcrux or something.
It's a hashtag Horcrux dark spark.
Tangent. Okay. But I should say, trigger warning for anyone here, anyone in or listening to this podcast right now. We will talk briefly about sexual assault and violence. So if that is a trigger for you, I just want to give you a moment to, if you want to do so.
You get to choose, take care of yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
So my spark is the story of Patricia Douglas. She is also known as Girl 27. This is Patricia Douglas. Thanks, Mo. I first learned about Patricia's story in an article by David Sten in Vanity Fair. The article was called "It Happened One Night at MGM." He also created a documentary called Girl 27 that showed at Sundance in 2007.
Huh.
So I've had this sort of locked in the spark file for a while, but recently it's come out a little bit more because of the Me Too movement. Like more people have really tried to fan the flames and share the light on her story, and I'm glad of that because she is a downright flippin' hero. And I want to tell you about her.
Nice.
So she was born in Kansas City. She was raised by her mom. No one knows much about her dad. Her mom was obsessed with making costumes and dresses for Hollywood stars and the movies. Patricia herself
Did she actually did that? She actually made costumes and dresses?
No. She was obsessed. She was living in Kansas and obsessed with that idea. Her mom was very sparkly eyed about Hollywood. But Patricia was not. She went to dance lessons, she did her thing, but she was like, school. Well, I support you, Mom. Whatever you want to do, Mom. And so her mom eventually moves the two of them to Hollywood so her mom can pursue her desired career.
Interesting.
But she was also a bit of a stage mom, so she would push Patricia towards auditions and dancing things. And so Patricia did she was a backup dancer in several movies, and she she was fine doing it. But like I said, she wasn't overly keen about it. She considered herself very upright. Yes.
I'm trying to figure out who would play her, and I think I figured it out. It's Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Ooh,
it's Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Good one.
Okay, so
let's get on the horn to Maggie. We've got a good one for you, Maggie.
We got a spark for you.
But she didn't consider herself. She was very upright. She was very religious. She didn't drink. She didn't really date. One day in the spring of 1937, Patricia went on a casting call, and she thought it was for a background dancing role in a movie. But she got the part on the spot, and they outfitted her immediately in a super skimpy Wild West themed outfit.
I'm starting to get nervous.
I would too. Mm-hmm. You should. But the outfit wasn't that unusual. She was given a time and location of where to be, and she didn't think, nothing seemed out of place yet. But she arrived on the day, and it was a big dance hall. It was lavish. It was beautiful. There was champagne and scotch flowing, and there were about 120 women dancers, all dressed similarly, ready for what they thought was going to be a movie shoot. If she had been perhaps a little bit more savvy in that downtime while they were waiting, she might have looked around and noticed I don't see any cameras. I don't see any crew. I don't see any lights. What's happening here?
Okay.
Nonetheless, the women all waited. And it turns out it was not a movie at all. It was a party.
Okay.
Hosted by MGM. And it was a blowout, like 5-day conference where they were thanking all the theater owners across the country. So they had flown in and bussed in and trained in like 300 men from around the country to say thank you so much for all that you do to promote our movies and please keep promoting them and all of that. And Louis B. Mayer, the head of MGM, came into the party. All the men arrived, and he really set the tone. And there's video of this. He set the tone and was like, gentlemen, this is the moment. We thank you. There's scotch on tap over there. It's flowing. By the way, they bought 500 cases of scotch for 300 men. This tells you what they were planning on doing that night.
More than a case of scotch
More
for
than a
each
case
man?
each. So they were prepared. So the booze is free, the food is free. Here are the women standing. He doesn't say it explicitly, but he says, anything you want, gentlemen. All this is here for you.
Oh my God.
So about this time, some
Can we
of
just
the women...
pause for just a second? Oh my God. Sometimes when we share these sparks, I start to get my little fists ball up and I just want to start kicking people downstairs.
I get a knot.
It makes me so mad, but that's useful. Yeah. Keep talking.
Yes. So some of the women started to sense, spidey sense, I think I need to find the exit. So a few ladies got out pretty quickly, but most of them were, I'm here for a job, and I said I would do it. And so they went about, entertaining and being, at least talking to the men and being charming. Of course, as the night went on, things didn't stay so charming. And for Patricia, she was held down by 2 men and forced to drink. Remember, I said she didn't even drink. She never touched a drop herself. So that was her first experience with alcohol.
Yeah.
And then...
But, to be clear, I don't want to... I'm not saying it's a good thing that I want to kick people down a flight of stairs. I'm saying it's a good thing I can take my upset and my anger about these things and I can funnel it into productive, creative things. I'm not actually going to kick
You're not going to
the
kick
ghosts
anyone.
Of these gentlemen down the flights of stairs.
You're not
the bones, just their
going
rickety,
to.
rackety bones down flights of stairs.
But you're going to feel like you want to.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Fair warning.
Sorry.
So Patricia, then after that experience, she tries to leave. She goes to the parking lot, and in the parking lot, she was raped by a man named David Ross. He was a theater owner in the Midwest.
David, the bones of David Ross, you're long gone.
David.
Still, you have to go fuck yourself.
Thank you. So it was in the parking lot. So there were witnesses that saw things. They couldn't say, exactly everything that transpired, but there were witnesses. Patricia went to the hospital. She was tended to by a nurse, by a doctor. So there were, again, people that witnessed what happened to her. And it was a studio car that took her home from the hospital that night. So people were aware of it. By the way, there were, of course, the police chief and 4 different districts representative, like policemen at the party. No one filed a police report.
Of course not.
When she recovered a few days later, when she felt well enough, she went back to the studio and she wanted to just tell someone. And she describes her in her story. She's like, I just wanted someone to know so that they could keep this from happening again. That was my sole objective. So she went in, she told someone, they said thanks and gave her paycheck. Off you go. And she was a little bit stunned, but kind of thought she'd hear from them eventually. Like maybe it'll take a few days.
Go through a process. And
it needed to go up a chain. Someone needed to talk about it. But It was very common practice at that time that women in the studio system would be sexually assaulted or raped, and they would parlay that into a starring role or a higher salary. And by parlay, I mean the studio would say, here are your choices.
Like a payout.
Yes. We hear what happened.
Buyout.
Wouldn't you like this starring role? And there are a number of stories like that where women took that deal.
That's the cost of admission.
That's
a ball
can
of
be the
goddamn
cost.
Snakes. I told you, ball of snakes. Okay,
I know. But that wasn't going to work with Patricia because she's like, I'm not interested. I've never been interested. Like, that was not what I was here to do. Like, so no, I would just like someone to acknowledge this shouldn't happen to anyone. So in an incredible move, and one that mortified her mother, because you recall her hopes and dreams, Patricia went to the district attorney to swear a complaint against her rapist, David Ross. This was monumental, by the way. Like, I can't stress this enough. No one had ever dared to link a sexual assault back to any of the movie studios for all the reasons I mentioned earlier. Like, and certainly not the almighty MGM. No one was going to do it.
She stood up.
So she tells her story to the DA. And as it turns out, the DA who heard her complaint was a good friend of Louis B. Mayer.
Sure.
So, and they had been the number one contributor to his campaign, et cetera. But she was super trusting and she believed in the justice system. So she waited, and she never heard back. So after weeks of silence and not a word from the studio, she again did the unimaginable. She went and found herself a lawyer who would take her case. And this wasn't an easy task. Most of the lawyers are like, "Are you kidding me?" As the end of my career.
Yeah. I would imagine that most of the lawyers, based on what you're saying about the history of industry in California, most of them were tied to the film industry.
Absolutely. Ooh. But there was one, he loved an underdog case. His name is William J.F. Brown. He himself is a spark, William Brown. He offered to take her case pro bono. And at first glance, he looks like he might be the hero of our story. She finally had someone on her side. Yeah. She had a lawyer, a very strong lawyer. And the first thing he did was fire off an ultimatum. Like, either the DA's office is going to investigate this claim or she's going to take her story to the press.
Yes.
The balls. I mean, yes. I'm like, seriously, like, okay. Yeah. So the DA dismissed it as a bluff. They were like, she's not going to do that. She's not crazy. She's not going to do that. But she did. The LA Examiner wrote a story.
She was 17.
She was 17.
I don't think I put that together.
I don't think I said it, actually. She was 17.
My eyeballs become cryballs.
So, and you'd think like she would want her mom's support in all of this. Like, even to have her mom say,
of course,
I'm sorry this happened to you.
Yeah.
But she did this. She went after it. She's like, all right, so I'm going to tell my story. Wow. And the LA Examiner, while they did print the story, they tried to play both sides. So they claimed, it's a wild party and that the investigations are ensuing. But rape was still very much a 4-letter word. Like, they could not print the word rape. Just let that settle in for a second. Could not print the word rape. They used words instead like she had been attacked. She was ravished. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but that one like makes me so fucking angry. She wasn't ravished.
Yeah.
And just to remind you how powerful MGM was, in this article, they didn't even mention, I don't know if you can see that, they did not mention MGM. They simply say a local film studio.
A hayloft party staged by a local
Meanwhile,
film company.
They print Patricia's name, her photo, and her home address. Her home address.
You are fucking kidding me.
I am not fucking kidding you. How safe do you feel now?
Oh my God.
This enrages me. It enrages me. So
I feel like the entire TPAP audience is going to stand up with pitchforks and torches.
So the studio launched a counter campaign against her. So they went back to all the people at the party. They found women and men that were willing to say things exactly the opposite of what she said. So they were willing to come out and say, it was all just good, clean fun. It was a family-friendly party. I don't know that girl, Patricia. She sure drinks a lot. She sleeps around.
Wow. Because they're all in the pocket of the studio.
They're all in the pocket of the studio. They're all getting paid.
It's their livelihood.
It is absolutely, it's like the difference for their family getting work again in the future or not.
So imagine you're just like some theater owner or publicist or whoever these people were, or an aspiring actor, whatever. And Louis B. Mayer or Louis B. Mayer's office or his lawyer calls and is like, hey, can you do us a solid? And they're just like, sure thing, Mr. Mayer.
There were people who were offered lifetime jobs at MGM.
Yeah.
Lifetime jobs.
Yeah.
In exchange for perjuring themselves against Patricia Douglas. So this case went to a grand jury. Patricia had to be face to face with her rapist in the courtroom. She was attacked from every angle. All these people lied under oath. The parking attendant who witnessed things now, lifetime job at MGM.
Sure.
Suddenly,
Yeah.
I don't think that's the guy. I don't know. He wasn't that skinny. I think he was, changed his tune entirely. She's sitting there in disbelief. Everyone is abandoning her. And then she gets attacked by the defense lawyer, of course, like making a big show of like, look at her. Would anybody want to do that to her?
Wow.
It just makes me so mad.
It's awful.
And all of this
It's
was in the
awful.
media, the shaming, the blaming the victim, all of it. And after all of that, the grand jury did not indict David Ross. He was let off the hook. The studio was let off the hook, the whole thing. And she was a ruined woman. In the newspapers, like it was a heyday against her. Remember that story I told you about Loretta Young?
Yeah.
And when she adopted the child, they made a big fuss of it in the papers.
Yeah.
So that had been all the headlines. And then that got booted right out of the papers.
And this was the story that took the news
Patricia
cycle?
Douglas. Wow. And what a slut she is and how hateful she was to go against the studio, etc. So you would think that was it, right?
I hope not.
Not with our gal Patricia.
She's kicking ass.
Again,
and
she
taking names.
surprised everybody. She and her lawyer, who has quickly become her only friend at this point,
Sure.
they decide to file a suit in the LA County Superior Court against not only her rapist, but also against MGM.
Good.
And the suit was, I want to get this right, it was for unlawful conspiracy to defile, debauch, and seduce her and all the other dancers
Get it.
for the immoral and sensual gratification of the male guests. She filed this, let me say again, in the Los Angeles County Superior Court.
Okay.
What do you think happened there? Are we still in LA?
We're still in LA.
So that suit got dropped.
Okay.
Just done. So it seemed like she was out of options at the time, but no. One more card. She filed an identical suit in the U.S. District Court.
Fucking get it, Patricia.
Fucking Patricia Douglas.
She will
Can I
not
just
sit
say
down.
this? She is the first woman ever to file a legal complaint for rape, to make rape a federal case based on its violation of her civil rights. First woman ever. Movie studios, not movie studios, just rape. No one had ever filed a federal rape complaint before, and our girl, Patricia Douglas, did it.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
So I cannot say enough, like how I just think like the spirit on this woman.
We've talked about this before. I say it again. The pull against you, that gravitational pull to like stop talking, to sit down, the fucking truck nuts you would have to just stand up.
Stand her ground.
Like to stand up and friendless, like maybe
future,
a lawyer.
like what's going to
yeah.
happen? Like she's going to have to move, obviously. She
We have
doesn't
had
a
other
future.
sparks on this podcast about
Yes.
people who, against big systems like behemoth systems,
Yes.
have stood the fuck up.
I think it's unbelievable.
I feel like the word like bravery and the word courage get thrown around a lot. And this is what it is. Like it's crazy how, I just think how challenging that might be. And yet she did it.
And all she wanted was recognition that this should not have happened and it should not happen again to anyone else.
Yeah.
That's all she was asking for. So they file in the U.S. District Court. And now, as you can imagine, MGM is losing their minds.
They're losing
like,
their shit because it's out of their.
Cannot get rid of this woman.
Yeah, and it's slipping away from their cronies.
Yes,
it's not their cronies that they like go and.
No, they are literally losing their minds. There's actually a biography of Eddie Maddox, who's one of those famous fixers from this time, and he talks about how they actually had a conversation about how to dispose of her.
Sure.
Kill her.
I was like, please don't let her.
But the press, like, it had gotten too high profile. They're like, we can't do that. It's going to be noticeable. So they knew they had to stop her, though. They had one last card to play.
The studios?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sadly. Remember I told you that her lawyer might be the hero of this story?
I know.
It turns out that her lawyer had some aspirations and some personal dreams to perhaps become the next district attorney.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say the next Clark Gable. They got to him.
They got to him. They made him a deal. They would fully finance and back him as the next DA. All he had to do was throw the case against Patricia Douglas. Just fuck it up. So,
on behalf of the entire audience, may I please?
It's just. So what happens next? Just, it breaks my heart, and like the pieces of my heart that are already broken are breaking
into smaller pieces.
It's too much because Patricia's waiting at home. She trusts her lawyer. She trusts her mom. She's like, okay, we're waiting at home. We're going to find out soon that we have a court date in the U.S. District Court. It's going to happen. Time goes by. Nothing happens. They were given a court date. Her lawyer doesn't show up for that court date. Neither does anyone else. No one shows up. Second court date, no one shows up. Third court date, no one shows up.
Does Patricia show up?
No, Patricia doesn't know.
She hasn't been communicated to her.
No one's told her there was a court date. So,
because she's got a crooked lawyer.
She's now got a crooked lawyer, unbeknownst to her. You know he's crooked because the defense didn't even show up. So if it was just an accident of him not showing up, like, why wouldn't they be there ready to go?
Yeah.
No one showed up. And so after 3 consecutive no-shows, your case gets tossed.
Oh my God. Please tell me this story takes a turn. You are killing me.
It does, but you're not going to like the turn.
Oh, it's a downward turn?
Downward from here.
Suck a butt. Okay, go ahead.
Patricia's mother knew when those court dates were. That's right.
You are fucking kidding me.
I'm not. I wish I was.
Okay.
I wish I was, because this is when, like, okay, I was upset before, but I think, like, the idea of someone's mom not standing up for them and not being there for them, like, that just, she literally doesn't have a single soul.
She is alone in the world.
She is alone in the world, Susan.
Alone in the world.
She's alone in the world. And I just think she was doing one of the bravest things possible, and literally every single person in her life screwed her over. And I don't know, that's her story. That one, like, it ends on such a sad note. I'm sorry to say. Her life was ruined, and the whole thing gets swept under the carpet. It goes away. She lives out her life kind of broken by it in many ways and alone. And it wasn't until this, David Sten, I told you, who wrote this article, he was doing a biography on someone else whose name, I don't remember which biography it was, so forgive me.
Let's just say Clark Gable.
He was doing another biography, and in the course of his research there, he heard about this story.
Yeah.
And he was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And so he decides to dig deeper and deeper. And at that time, he finally tracked her down in a small town in Nevada. She lived alone and she wasn't able to get around very well, but he found her and was able to hear directly from her to get her story down.
Really?
And that is part of his documentary, Girl 27. So I would highly, if this story interests you at all, I would check that out. But I just feel such a powerful pull to make sure her voice is heard. I mean, she took not just the first step, but she took so many steps.
You know, I'm listening to this and I'm like, as we often discuss, sometimes life is awesome and sometimes life is nawesome, which is the opposite of awesome. And I'm like, so we have to live it. We're living through this life, but what do we make of it? Like, what do we make of it?
You know, for me, Susan, I think you already know, I truth be told, like I have a draft of a screenplay already written, like inspired by this, but
get it.
Everyone else should write their story inspired about this. As we talk all the time, those stories will be very different and different perspectives. So I welcome that and I share this idea. But for me, I think I think you could make a lot out of it. Like you said, you want to be kicking people down stairways. So
not literally, figuratively and creatively.
No, I see honestly. A dance piece and people being kicked down the stairway by Susan.
Yeah. Maria Bromvik just kicking people down staircases.
So I think what you do with it depends on how you channel all of the feelings that come up from it.
I feel like the possible sparks of political activism, like big political activism, social justice.
Yes.
I'm feeling that.
Yes.
And then what, if anybody who can hear the sounds of our voices is so sparked to, in any way, choreography.
Yes.
Screenplay, Miss Cambion.
Sculpture.
Yeah.
Anything.
And I know it's good because sometimes sparks are dark. Sometimes sparks are dark, but they're totally worthwhile sparks.
Oh, God.
And they're worthy
all
of
those feelings.
They're worthy of putting it through us and creativity and self-expression.
That's right.
And I know that they're good sparks because when I sit here and you just tell it to me, I get very, very strong visceral feelings in my body. Like I said, my little fists ball up and I'm ready to kick somebody downstairs. But that the tingle lets you know it's working.
That's right.
Yeah.
The tingle lets you know it's working. So thank you for listening to my spark.
Good spark, Laura Cambion. Oh, good spark.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh my God. This is a tough act to follow, but I'm going to follow it. And weirdly, I think I have a bit of a complimentary spark because mine also touches your geography.
Oh, oh, do tell. You mean out west geography?
We'll see. We'll get there. So I just want to share with you first. This was my original inspiration for this spark. It's about an 8-second, just a little video clip that I took with my iPhone. Hit it.
Oh.
So for those of you who are listening and not watching, please go to our Instagram or our social media or our website, and you can see that video. And all it is a little fawn that is just coming out of the thicket and walking towards me. So that's the original spark. That's the orig, and that spark just happened like last. And then I murdered the fawn. No, and then the fawn pulled a knife on me. You guys,
crazy.
But that's the OG spark. And then other sources for my spark include This Is Love podcast, hosted by Phoebe Judge, which I cannot recommend highly enough. It's a wonderful podcast. A New Yorker article entitled "Swimming with Penguins," written by Matt Dellinger. A New Yorker article titled "A Dip in the Cold" by a writer named Lynne Cox. A TED Talk by Lynne Cox, a book called Grayson by Lynne Cox, and LynneCox.com.
Can we just stop for a moment and say someone did her homework?
Well,
that was an impressive list of resources.
As you might have guessed, I recently learned a lot about a woman named Lynne Cox. So Lynne Cox has been an extreme endurance, long-distance swimmer since she was 14. Sports Illustrated called her the greatest open water swimmer, and she's also a beautiful writer and a gorgeous speaker. So as a swimmer, Lynne was initially interested in breaking other people's swimming records. She's been swimming her entire life, and she first was interested in breaking other people's swimming records, and she did a lot of record breaking. In 1971, at the age of 14, Lynne was the youngest person to swim the Catalina Channel. And she and a group of her teenage friends had this goal to be the youngest group of kids to swim across the Catalina Channel. They had the idea, they trained for a year, and then they swam a distance of 27 miles in 12 hours and 36 minutes. Lynne was the youngest of them at 14, and this is what she looked like. There's Lynne in the boat, and there's one of the many articles about her breaking records.
Can you say again, how long was that swim?
It was 27 miles, and they did it in 12 hours and 36 minutes.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Swimming for 12
Yeah, strap in.
hours.
We've only just begun, people.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
Okay.
So she completed this amazing swim, and she said you finish it, you walk up to your car, you drive home, and it's like, we did this thing that we've been working on for a year and training for and everything, and she did it. And then your mind goes to, what's the next thing? So the next day, Lynne asked her parents if she could try to swim the English Channel. She took a year, she trained, and the next year in 1972, at the age of 15, Lynne swam across the English Channel in 9 hours and 57 minutes. When she emerged out of the sea up onto the rocks in France, that was her first visit to France.
Oh my gosh.
She broke the men's world record by 20 minutes, and she broke the women's world's record for swimming the English Channel by 1 hour.
Susan, I have to ask a question. You can tell me that you're going to answer this later,
go
but
ahead.
my palms are sweaty. What makes me so nervous about it is like other things you get into that are scary. If you want to tap out or say, you know what, I think I'm good. I hurt my back. I'm done. Whatever. There's an exit plan. If you're halfway across the English Channel and you're like, I got a cramp in my arm.
It's a good question.
What do you do?
Well, there's always people next to her, pilots they're called, her coach and her pilot, which is like a fisherman who's fished those waters forever, who knows the currents. There's a pilot, and there are pilots who are very experienced at escorting people across these channels and in different swimming situations. They are there for you. You can get hoisted into the boat. While you're swimming, her jam is oatmeal cookies and warm apple juice. They toss her food and she eats it and keeps swimming. So you're surrounded by people. But then you're also surrounded by other things too. Things in the water. Anyway, so she broke that record, and then the following year, a man broke her record, and then she was like, I'm going to break that record again. And the following year, she swam the English Channel again in 9 hours and 36 minutes, breaking the record yet again. So she's breaking records. She's killing it. She's still a teenager. After breaking those records and a lot of other records, Lynne decided she was going to tackle a lot of what she calls firsts. So in 1977, Lynne was the first person, male or female, to swim the 10 miles around the Cape of Good Hope, located in the southern tip of Africa, through shark and sea snake infested waters. And she did that in 3 hours and 3 minutes.
Oh my God.
In 1976, she became the first person to swim across the Strait of Magellan. She swam in water that was 42 degrees, through a storm with a 9-knot cross current, and she did it in 1 hour and 2 minutes. What? Lynne is killing it with the swimming. She swims like a boss. So then after she did all those firsts, she became interested in what she sort of what is referred to as diplomatic swims. What? She's super creative. Lynne is creative AF. So in 1987, after years of preparation and planning and seeking permission, she achieves a diplomatic first swimming across the, get this, Bering Strait, opening the U.S.-Soviet border for the first time in 48 years. So she swam from the United States through the Bering Strait to The Soviet, yeah.
What do you mean opening it for the first time? Open to
Meaning
swimmers?
that
Or she was literally
the
like
United States. I'm not great at history and I'm not great at geography, but the United States and Russia did not like each other. I would not say we had open borders towards each other. She swam from the United States to, I know the name has changed, Soviet Union, USSR, Russia, all the above.
All the above.
She did that, and she did it in 38-degree water in 2 hours and 6 minutes, and she was lauded by then President Ronald Reagan, Mikhail Gorbachev, and the Pope.
Wow.
And then Lynne became interested in extreme endurance, and she wanted to know if her body, like how extreme her body could tolerate when it came to like cold.
Yes.
In 2002, wearing only a swimsuit, Lynne performed a mile-long swim from a boat to the shore of Antarctica. In waters of 32 degrees Fahrenheit, she was 46, and she still was at the very frontier of swimming. Let's take a look at that slide. That's Lynne, just 46 years old and still crushing it. So in this interview with Matt Dellinger in The New Yorker, she said, I fucking love this. This is a quote. She said, "When the idea of swimming to Antarctica occurred to me, it was one of those aha moments in my life. I knew it was something I wanted to do, something I just had to do. Just thinking about it made me smile," right? A visceral physical response. Thinking about it made me smile. What intrigued me was how it could be done. I didn't know. I don't think anyone knew. But the fun and creativity came in the trying, the testing, working harder at something than I ever had before. There were so many explorers who wrote about their experiences of sailing around Antarctica, Cook, Shackleton, so many others, but none of them had the experience of swimming there.
Oh.
She was really inspired and has done a lot of work, swimming work and writing work inspired by these big explorers. Lynne Cox is amazing, badass. So all of this is to say she's pretty fucking sparkish. And from everything I can tell, I don't know Lynne Cox, but from my studies, she seems like this extremely accomplished person and also this very sunny, warm, authentic person. She's a wonderful writer. I've listened to her books. She's a great storyteller. And she's also been studied by doctors who, impressed with her ability to endure such cold water for such long periods of time, these doctors hope to draw lessons from it about treating hypothermia. So she's also this specimen.
Now she's doing scientific swims.
Yeah. So now she's So, but of all the sparks that sparked me about Lynne Cox, this spark I'm about to share with you is the one that really sparked me the most. So, for many years, Lynne has trained by swimming very, very, very early in the ocean in the morning before the sun comes up. And when she was a teen, her usual course was between the pier and the jetty at Seal Beach, which is near Long Beach in Southern California. Hey, California, theme it. So this is Seal Beach. So I don't know if you can see it, but the lower line here, and again, please check our Instagram. The lower line is the jetty. That line of rocks is the jetty. And then the upper line is the pier. And her usual course was between the pier and the jetty at Seal Beach. Can you picture it? Now picture it at night. It's dark, and she starts these swims very early in the morning. So she's 17 years old. Are you sweating it?
My palms are sweaty.
That's how you know it's a good spark. So she's 17. She's swimming in the dark ocean. It's still night out, and she's swimming between the pier and the jetty. She feels the water hollowing out from beneath her. She feels herself being pulled down in a slipstream, and she could sense that something was swimming beneath her. And she wondered at first if it was a seal or maybe a dolphin, but it felt like the pull was too large to be either of those things, which made her wonder if it was a shark. But according
was it a shark?
I don't know. Was it a shark?
Susan, come on.
But according to Lynne, when you do these long swims, and indeed when you are making anything that takes a long time, when you're doing these long swims in open water and you're essentially swimming completely in the dark, you have to keep your mind under control. So she kept talking to herself. She kept calming herself down. And she decided she was just going to very calmly just swim closer to shore. She's going to swim closer to shore. She's going to keep it calm. But even as she swam closer to the shore, whatever it was kept swimming with her. And the water kept getting hollowed out beneath her. And she continued to feel that presence of something. And she thought about getting out of the water, but now she decided to keep going with her training workout. She is very mentally disciplined, and it's the thing that's made it possible for her to do all these extraordinary things. But she did make a deal with herself that she would turn around, swim back to the pier, and if whatever it was kept swimming with her, she would then get out of the water. So she got to the pier, and whatever it was still there. And she was ready to turn around and get the fuck out of the water. But there was this old guy named Steve who worked in the bait shop on that pier. At the end of that pier, there's a bait shop. And this guy knew Lynne, and he would he would watch over her as she did these. He was like the only person consistently out there when she did these extreme early morning pre-dawn swims. So old bait shop Steve was waving at her to swim out closer to where he was at the end of the pier. And she was like, no way. And then
no, thank you, Steve.
No thanks though, Steve. Ooh. And then he yelled, Lynne, come here. There's a baby whale swimming with you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She's been in the water swimming for about 20 minutes at that point. And Steve told her that this baby whale seemed to have lost its mother and that Lynne shouldn't swim towards the shore and get out because if she did, the baby whale would most likely follow her and it could run aground that its own weight out of the water could kill it. So if she got out, the baby whale may also swim off and not be able to find its mother on its own. So Steve's idea was that Lynne stay swimming with the baby while they tried to locate its mother. Apparently, something I learned is that whale mothers keep their babies very close. The baby's sonar isn't developed, the babies can get lost, and they are totally dependent. Their only food source is their mother's milk to survive. So if this baby was going to survive, they needed to reunite it with its mother. That was kind of like the only thing that they knew. So she's in the water, baby whale. But so far it's only been under the water. It's something she's felt its presence, but she hasn't seen it. And then this baby gray whale surfaced, and she saw its back, and then it swam towards her. And she was scared because a baby gray whale is really big. And that baby is so big.
Not tiny.
She wasn't sure how to deal with the baby. And he was now about 10 or 15 feet away. Ooh. So Steve stayed calm, and Steve had been on the ocean for a long time. And Lynne decided she was going to rely on Steve's wisdom and just stay with the baby whale. And Steve got on the radio. The baby whale didn't get on Steve got on the radio and told all the local boats and the area fishermen to keep an eye out for the mother whale. And then he told Lynne to swim back towards the jetty, which she did. And then she swam back towards the pier. These are long swims. These are long swims. And that whole time, that little baby whale kept following her, either side by side or underneath her, which Lynne said was amazeballs. And this went on for about an hour.
And meanwhile, the sun must be coming
Yes, that's right. The sun is starting to rise. And also, people are starting to gather on the pier.
Oh, wow.
And people are watching all of this. But then, so this went on for about an hour, and then she started getting scared that the mother might never come back or the mother might be dead. And the whole time, Steve is radioing with all the boats and communicating with the fishermen. And then one of the offshore fishermen radioed that they saw a full-grown gray whale near an oil rig that's about 1.5 miles offshore, which I think is that one if you've ever been to Long Beach, it's that one. It doesn't exactly look like an oil rig. They've disguised it, and it's lit with colored lights. And just then, as if the baby whale had heard that radio message, the baby whale started swimming towards the oil rig. And Lynne, and she says she doesn't know why she did it, she swam along with the baby. So the baby whale was swimming a little in front of her and a little below, if you can picture that. And so Lynne was now swimming in its slipstream, making it much easier for her to move through the water.
Headed straight towards the mama whale.
Bingo, bingo,
Sorry,
bango.
sorry, that's what you were about to say. Sorry.
But
whoa.
so she's swimming and she thought, wow, I bet that this baby whale learned this type of swimming from its mother to swim in the slipstream. But now the baby whale is the big whale and Lynn's the baby. And when she would start to get fatigued from being in the water so long, it seemed like the baby whale sensed it and would help her. And she said it seemed so cool because she was hardly moving her arms at all, and she was just flying through the water.
Wow.
So then on the way to the oil rig, the baby whale, for the first time, fully breached the water, and it shot straight up into the air, and it slapped down on its side, cannonballing, slapped the water, which they speculate is to communicate and signal, like it was trying to send out a signal to its mother. By this time, Lynne had been in the water for 3.5 hours. And while she was used to swimming long distances, she was getting cold because there were long stretches where the baby whale would dive and just sort of disappear, and she would just be treading water, and she called it doing egg beaters, and so she was losing body heat. So at this point, this baby whale that she had now named Grayson, he would dive and disappear for long stretches, but Lynne would keep close and tread water near Grayson, but she was getting cold. At some point, the baby whale turned on its side, and Lynne finally saw its eye, which was, she described as about the size of an orange or a plum, and this real dark brown. And she thought, how does he see me? How does this baby whale see me? And she speculated that the baby whale must have thought, wow, she's a really horrible swimmer. She needs help. So after they'd been swimming side by side for hours, she really felt connected with this baby, and she decided to reach out and touch the baby for the first time after hours. And she said the baby felt like a mushroom or a neoprene wetsuit, that Grayson didn't feel like a dolphin. His skin was thicker and more taut. And she said she could tell that Grayson could feel her touch. And then he moved closer to her, and she reached out and she touched him again. So about 5 hours in the water,
Oh my gosh.
she realized that she could get hypothermia, get disoriented, pass out in the water, and she knew she needed to keep moving and head back to the pier. And at that point, the tide had also changed, and she was working against the current. But she said swimming the English Channel and the Catalina Channel had prepared her for these conditions. She knew, even though at this point in her swims, she was the most fatigued and she had to work harder. So she had some training for this. In a way, she was the perfect person to have this happen to. She had been training for this.
Yes. I mean,
for
how
years.
many people could actually have done that?
Few.
Very few.
So she's on her way back to the pier, and a Long Beach lifeguard boat approached her at full speed, and they told her they were worried about her safety because the weather was also changing. And she also learned that a commercial fishing boat had spotted a solo whale headed north towards Seal Beach Pier. And she thought, she thought, please let baby Grayson hear that and let the mother whale hear him, like let them hear each other.
Yes.
And then she realized she didn't know quite what to do if and when this mother whale showed up. Apparently.
Wait, only then?
Yeah.
She realized
well, she's making this all up in real time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about the mama whale for quite some time now.
So apparently full-size gray whales can weigh 30 tons and they can reach 50 feet long. And they had been known to destroy whaling ships who had killed the babies. And she was nervous and she didn't know what to do. Throughout this whole event, to your point, Laura, Lynne had several moments where she wasn't sure what to do. She was making all of this up as she went along, and with the help of Steve on the pier and some lifeguards, she was totally improvising. And there were so many questions she didn't know the answers to, like how long could a baby whale survive without mother's milk? And when had the baby whale last eaten? And how often did he need to drink so he wouldn't get dehydrated? And what would they do if they couldn't find its mother? And she didn't have answers to any of this. But she felt as long as they tried, as long as they kept going, there was a chance that they could help them find each other. And she said, and I quote, Sometimes it's the process of doing that makes things clear. If we don't start, we never know what could have been. Sometimes the answers we find while searching are better or more creative than anything we could have imagined before.
Amen.
Word.
That.
So the mother whale was getting closer. Lynne wasn't sure what that 45-foot full-grown gray whale would make of little Lynne, but she decided that her intention all along had been good and that the baby understood that, and hopefully that the mother whale would understand that too. So the mother whale approached very, very slowly, and then a few minutes later, she came right up next to Lynne. And Lynne said, when a mother whale moves next to you, it is like a city bus pulling up beside you. And Lynne knew that with one push of that full-grown whale's fin, that Lynne could be hurt. But she's told herself again, just be calm, just float on the water. After 5 hours of swimming in the water, Lynne saw that mother and that baby whale reunited. She saw them swimming together, and then the mother approached her, and Lynne thought, I'm going to touch her. I'm going to touch her too. And I touched her, and I could feel that she felt my hand on her, and it was amazing because she was so big. How does a whale express happiness? But I felt that she was happy. And a few minutes later, they swam off, and it was really sad. This was the moment you've been trying for the last 5 hours, but now the baby was gone. So a lifeguard boat gave Lynne a ride to shore, and they let the ships in the area know to make way that a mother and a baby whale were moving through the waters. And later, boats reported seeing the two joining a group of whales on their way to Alaska. Lynne said throughout this, I didn't want him to feel alone. I think sometimes when things are really difficult for people, if you're just there with them, if you just walk beside them, it makes all the difference in the world. So much of life can be lonely, but if you know someone is nearby, it changes everything. I think we have understandings that go beyond words all the time. So Lynne still swims in that ocean, and sometimes she wonders when she sees a gray whale swimming north, she wonders if it's one of Grayson's relatives. Apparently gray whales can live until they're 50, so she wonders if one of those whales she's seen is Grayson's grandchild. And this is a photo of Lynne Cox now. She's just like a bucket of sunshine.
Oh my gosh.
She sparks me in so many ways. Number one, Lynne Cox will get some shit done.
Seriously.
Good goddamn. Talk about doing things means doing things. She
She's-
has these aha moments. She has these aha moments where she's like, it made me smile. The thought of doing this thing gave me a feeling and I couldn't shake it. So I spent the next year, 3 years, 7 years planning and plotting, and she gets stuff done step by step, by step by step. Her mental grit and determination and discipline is outrageously sparkish to me. Like a shot glass of that, Lynne Cox.
Yes, please.
And her creativity, the way that she's combined diplomacy and peacemaking with her swimming. How creative is that?
The metaphors for creativity throughout that were...
And she's a swimmer.
She's a swimmer.
Yes.
But when you describe swimming in the dark and just how often do we feel like, well, I'm in the dark on this one. What am I doing? The feelings of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Something's happening. I feel uncomfortable. Should I get out of the water?
Yeah.
Should I stick with this? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Also, like the adventure she's had, she's kind of like a documentarian. She goes to these places where most of us aren't physically able or willing to go, and then she reports back.
Yes. Yeah.
I cannot recommend her work highly enough to you. Her connection to the natural world.
Yes.
The way that she talks about nature and her relationship to it and the wonder of it she's just a beautiful storyteller.
And the discipline of her mind. I know several of you, where's our athletic sparks? There were some who were like, sports spark me, right? So the mind of an athlete can teach us so much too in terms of creativity.
Yeah.
Like I want to get inside her brain for a while.
Yeah. But you can do it by reading her work, listening to her work, and listening to her speak. It's beautiful. But back to my original spark. Remember this guy? Let's take a look at him again. Hit it. So this guy and Lynne Cox sparked me to write this.
I love it so much. And you talking about that made me think about Patricia and how alone in the world she was and the difference of just having someone be there.
Absolutely.
Like, you make me cry.
Having somebody walk alongside you. Yeah.
We don't always get quite this emotional.
We haven't had a lot of sleep.
But that was a very, very, very potent spark season.
There you go. Well, I've got this for you.
Oh.
So this was, I'm actually, we don't usually do this, but I'm going to share a spark. I was sparked and I made something. I'm going to share it with you now.
Yes.
Here we go. Thank you to that guy and thanks to Lynne Cox. If you visit my home up on the mountain, up past where the road bends and the stream passes under and the trees reach over, you'll see fawns, paintings and sculpture and throw pillows shaped like fawns. Even my dogs look like fawns. I'm not exactly sure when or why I came to love fawns, but here we are. The evening before tomorrow's trash pickup, my husband drives the cans down the mountain. From the base of the hill, he texts up a picture of a box turtle in the trail. He tells me it's just where the road bends and the stream passes under and the trees reach over. I stop what I'm doing. I leave the dogs behind. I walk down the dirt road quickly and quietly. In the distance, just at the spot where the road bends and the stream passes under and the trees reach over, I see a doe. She's framed by the gravel below and canopy above. She senses my movement and bounds out of sight. I keep my eyes on the trail, sweeping and scanning. How fast can a turtle move? I reach the spot where the doe was just moments earlier. I am looking so hard on the trail in the brush, but I'm not seeing any turtle. I hear a crunch. I turn, and emerging from the thicket on spindle legs is a fawn. So small, so fresh. Its coat is wet ginger. Its spots are distinct. Without hesitation, this little miracle is coming straight to me. My hand is cupped by my leg. He is about to rest his nose in my palm. I am in the direct center of this moment. I am also 3 seconds into the possible future where I'm sitting down on the gravel road holding the fawn in my lap. I am feeling his wild body and regarding his eyelashes and smelling the milk on its breath. And just when it's about to rest its nose in my cupped hand, we hear the sound of wheels on gravel, and the baby turns and heads back into the thicket. It stares at me for a long moment. Are you coming? The whole experience lasts no more than 20 seconds. I never got to touch his nose or feel his wild body with my hands. Wonder, disappointment, sadness, and gratitude compete inside of me. I learned later what I didn't know then. If you come across a fawn, don't touch it. It makes them susceptible to predators. And that newborn fawns can only make out large shapes. After long hours alone, camouflaged in the woods, fawns reunite with their mothers at dusk. That hungry baby thought I was his mother, I think, standing in the bend in the trail where the stream passes under and the trees reach over. At that time, I couldn't know it was a kindness that I didn't touch it or hold it in my lap or feel the ridges of its new spine. But now I know. Everything for the best. I get into the passenger seat of the pickup truck and head back up the mountain. We make it a few yards when we are stopped by a turtle in the road, just where the road bends and the stream passes under and the trees reach over.
Oh, Susan. Oh,
that's it, friends.
Beautiful.
You're sweet. I want to thank from the bottom of both of our hearts and the bottoms of our bottoms. We want to thank the Performing Arts Project. We want to thank Artistic Director Jonathan Bernstein, Kim Slade, Juliet Gray, and the entire faculty, staff, and student body.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Super, super special thanks to our TPAP Sparkfile team, a.k.a. The Sparklers.
The Sparklers.
Ian Axness, Leah Hohauser, Jack D'Amelio, Mo Amelbert, Michaela Lillybridge, and Colin Hodgkin. Give it up! So that's it. That's it.
That is it, Susan. We have to go.
We hope that all of this put another bunch of sparks in your file. If there is a spark you'd like us to explore, if you've got a spark that you'd like to share, please email us at thesparkfile@gmail.com or submit it through our website. And be sure to subscribe to this delicious podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, rate, review. And if you like this podcast, share it with people you love. And if you didn't like it, share it with people you want to play a cruel, cruel joke on.
If something tickled your fancy and got your creative juices flowing, we are writing you a forever permission slip to make that thing that has been knocking on your door. It's your turn to take this spark and fan it into a flame.
You got to draft it. You got to handicraft it. You got to get real big. And William Howard Taft it. You just got to take it and make it.
Spark file could be something that I wanna make or how I wanna be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
The National Sexual Assault Hotline is available 24/7 by telephone 800-656-HOPE, 800-656-4673, or online chat at online.rainn.org, in Espanol, rainn.org/ES.
Hi, friends. Susan Blackwell from the Spark File here to let you know that the doors are open for the Spark File Illume, a 9-month group creativity coaching mastermind that invites you to be the Chief Creative Officer and Chief Marketing Officer of your creativity. But what does that mean? That means in 9 months in Illume, you will clarify and advance your big creative goals and learn how to effectively share your work with the world. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an experienced creative or an accomplished professional who seeks a space where it is safe to attempt something you've never tried before, or complete a big creative project, or take your work to the next level and acquire the skills needed to share your creative work with the world, Illume might be right for you. We are calling in emotionally intelligent, high-functioning creatives who are ready to level up. You can find out more by going to thesparkfile.com/Illume, but do it now to find out if Illume is right for you and to save with early bird discounts. That's thesparkfile.com/Illume. Take a leap, take a risk. Go to thesparkfile.com/Illume and join us for Illume.